Viewer note: this story is purely fictional and intended for entertainment purposes only. However, some content may be disturbing to certain audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Chapter 9: The Great Hunt. October 2026. The International Military Tribunal, that massive, slow-moving machine, had finally roared to life. And no, that wasn't just a figure of speech. It started moving, for real, in a way the whole world could feel. Global arrest warrants, precision-engineered and deadly efficient, were flying out from agencies across nations like a blizzard of paper and law. The names, the faces, no longer hidden behind power, behind corporate boards, or diplomatic immunity. They were the fleeing officials of Hexagon Nation, its undercover agents, its corporate executives, and behind them all, the sprawling, tangled, omnipresent web they'd built, a web known only in whispers as the Squid Network, not because they looked like squid, though some might have argued they acted like slimy bottom feeders. No, the Squid was the name for those shadowy giants who controlled the levers of global finance, pharmaceuticals, technology, arms dealing, even international media. Their names never made the front pages, but their money? It could shift a nation's policy with a single wire transfer, tip the outcome of a war, set the price of a life-saving drug, even swing an election. And then there were the so-called pillars of society, the politicians, the royalty, the corporate dynasties, all of them showered with generous contributions from the Squid. This time, none of them were getting away. The moment the news broke, the fastest reactions came as expected, from Starland, Measy Nation, and their usual entourage of loyal allies. But their responses were almost scripted, vague, evasive, passive. Politicians blinked behind podiums, murmuring the same tired lines: due process, national sovereignty, need for further evidence, respect for judicial fairness. Everyone knew the truth. Their bank accounts, their votes, even some of their luxury villas, were all tangled up, deep in the Squid's money web, too deep to cut loose. One measly lawmaker was even caught drunk at a high-end private club muttering, "This is nothing but a hunt against decent people." Bad move, because that line didn't stay private. And worse, their own people? They weren't buying it anymore. Years of bottled-up anger finally ignited by that single arrest warrant. Protests exploded overnight, like wildfire, sweeping through the heart of their major cities. At first, people just gathered in public squares, outside government buildings, holding signs, shouting slogans. "Hand them over. It's time for justice. We've had enough." They demanded their governments cooperate with the tribunal to arrest those names on the list, the ones who felt so far away, and yet so close. They wanted truth, justice, accountability. But things didn't stay peaceful for long, because the Squid and their protectors didn't sit still. They fought back, not with water cannons or tear gas, but with real explosives, with real bullets. A peaceful rally in Measy's financial district blew up when a bomb-laden car rammed straight into the crowd. A candlelight vigil in Starland's banking sector, shot at by snipers from the rooftops nearby, blood spilled in the streets, and instead of scaring people off, it was like pouring gasoline on a fire. "You see, they're scared," a young protester shouted, face still smudged with soot, live on camera. "The rats in the shadows are finally biting back." His voice echoed across the globe. And the crowds? They stopped asking nicely. They started organizing. Neighborhood watch squads, citizen hunt units. They popped up like mushrooms after rain. And their targets weren't limited to the names on some international arrest list. No, they turned their attention inward, to the people they already suspected all along: corrupt officials, complicit lawmakers, royal family members, corporate tycoons, the ones who'd been rubbing shoulders with the Squid's empire for years. The internet became the new battlefield and the new courtroom. Senator so-and-so was playing golf with a Squid banker last week. Did you see that Duchess's new necklace? Looks an awful lot like one of their donated stolen gems. Doxing, leaks, screenshots, audio clips, anonymous tips. It all poured in nonstop. And in real life, some of those named got recognized fast. They were confronted in malls, on the street, in restaurants, shouted at, yelled at, pushed around. Some were even invited down to makeshift citizen inquiry centers for some, let's call it, informal questioning. Not exactly by the book. Like the case of one obese corporate heir who got stuffed into a tiny foldable chair, couldn't move, and became the laughingstock of the crowd. But behind the chaos, there was something much more powerful. An overwhelming force of public will. The system? It was shaking. In government buildings, officials who used to walk around with their noses in the air now looked pale, hollow, like someone had sucked the soul right out of them. Resignation letters started piling up. Excuses ranged from the ridiculous, health reasons, family time, looking for new challenges, to the disturbing, disappeared. Private jets took off in rapid succession from wealthy districts, most headed for tax havens, or tiny nations with no extradition treaties. All places so remote, they didn't even show up clearly on most maps. One Starland senator's luxury yacht went on a vacation near the Gulf of Mex, and was never seen again. Members of minor royal families, one by one, they vanished from public view, leaving behind empty mansions, dusty garages, servants who just shrugged and looked away. Headlines started using one word more and more: revolution. No one said it out loud, but on the streets, in forums, in encrypted chats, a feeling was in the air. Something like the calm before a storm, the tension before a revolution, the kind of energy you feel right before the world decides enough is enough. And according to the latest whispers on certain encrypted channels, that on-vacation senator, his yacht, it was reportedly spotted and intercepted by local armed militants in a tiny, unremarkable port somewhere in Africa.